Star-Lord is a new title from far away and distant lands across the seas. England. A product of Microprose UK, Star-Lord is a game of galactic conquest, trade, diplomacy, and strategy. At least, that's what they like you to think. It sure does try to do everything. When I first read the manual, I said, if this game does all of this stuff, well, it's going to be an amazing game. Please note the word if. Isn't that nice? Quite a lovely little space station there. Aren't the graphics pretty? Isn't the animation smooth? No, this isn't a scene from Outpost, but it may as well be for all the good it does this game. The rest of Star-Lord keeps the fluid animation, but the graphics go straight to hell. All this sequence does is serve as a glaring contrast to some of the weaker visual moments of the game. Star-Lord starts off with a nice premise, I'll give it that. Each star system in the galaxy is under control of a Star-Lord, who in turn is part of a large family. Your goal in the game is to spread your family's power and influence by trading with and, more importantly, conquering Star-Lords of other families. Although trade and diplomacy are heavily touted on the game's box, it quickly becomes obvious that they are only minor points in the game. At the start of the game, your capital ship is orbiting your base star, which is the one star you control directly and is the seat of your power as well as the site of your treasury. If your base star gets subjugated by a rival family, you can count on a public execution being part of your near future. The menu is hidden until you click the right mouse button, which is one of the only few nice touches in the game. Once you're at this menu, you're ready to begin the game. Let the horrors commence.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Under a Killing Moon, Access Software's latest creation is nearly here. With full motion, real actors, and a plot that would stump even the best armchair sleuths, Under a Killing Moon looks like their best game yet. Check out our preview in this episode under Features in the main menu or under Previews in the table of contents. Dynamics has long been a maker of great games. One of their latest creations, Front Page Sports Baseball, is on its way. For a sneak preview, select Features at the main menu or Previews in the table of contents.
And now, back to the action. The manual comes complete with a tutorial, although I'm not sure it's supposed to be a tutorial of Star-Lord. The first thing the tutorial says to do is to transfer all your money from your treasury to your capital ship. Never mind that if your fleet loses a battle, all the cash you're carrying gets plundered. The next thing you'll do is purchase some fuel so you can get around. You'll need some money for this, but it'll barely scratch the surface of what you just took from your base. To move from star to star, you'll have to visit the chart room. Here you'll gain access to important information such as how many fighters are stationed at neighboring stars, as well as your own. Taking this data into consideration, you'll decide where to go first in your quest for galactic domination. Once you've made this decision, it's back to the bridge for the jump to hyperspace. This jump is heightened by a hyper-boring demi-cinematic visual feast of ashes and punctuated by a sound effect that made me think I had just jumped directly into a large, solid object, possibly a comet or a Buick Roadmaster. After your awesomely dull jaunt through hyperspace, you'll talk to the local Star-Lord. If you're not on overly good terms with his family, you'll be hit up for a star toll, and I thought driving in New Hampshire was expensive. Now you'll get to respond in your choice of attitudes, ranging from politeness bordering on spinelessness, yes, this is an English game after all, to, as Dr. McCoy put it so eloquently, telling him what to go do with himself. In keeping with the theory that the tutorial is always right, let's provoke some hostility. Ah, space combat. Graceful and savage to behold, pulse-quickening to take part of. Yes, here we see the true elegance, the poetry of wasting someone amongst the stars, far above the polluted atmosphere. Gravity, all nonsense now. Oh, beauty. Oh, romance. Oh, damn. It's just more of that animated intro again. The real game isn't quite like that. It's more like getting kicked in the groin in a dirty alley. Yep, that's more like it. A stomach-churning frolic through substandard graphics and sound, bad control, and the most uninteresting, tedious flying combat since the 2600. The visuals are smooth and quick, and that's the only good thing I can say about them. The game refused to recognize my Thrustmaster FCS Pro as a physical entity, and using a CH flight stick made me feel like I was playing on a Pentium that had been doing crystal meth in between Windows operations. And how about that marvelously useless cockpit, huh? No confusing this with Fleet Defender. A radar display that is actually useful would have been a good idea. And who needs digitized sound effects when there's the ad-lib standard? Hey England, here's a little inside info for you. Here in the US, we have this thing called the Sound Blaster. Better get in on this one, guys. It's gonna be big someday. Since there's an option to resolve conflicts instantly, the abysmal flight sim phase could be excusable if the rest of the game was engaging. Unfortunately, it quickly becomes apparent that the trading and diplomatic elements exist only as a framework for the combat, a context to help you answer the question, who should I attack and when and with what? Star-Lord is a game that tries to be everything and as a result ends up doing nothing right. If you want some abuse, try ramming your head through a wall. It's less expensive than buying Star-Lord, and when you're done you can put in some glass and call it a window.